This is Anthony with True Diamond Heart, continuing our video series on transcendence. The flow of these videos is really seamless and building and synergistic, so it might help you to move back a few videos if you haven't been following them and get into this in the order in which it's been happening, because today we're going to speak about mindfulness and do a little bit of, we'll see what happens. Last time we spoke about not taking ourselves personally as being one of the cardinal ways. If you don't take yourself personally, you're in a state of love. You're in a state of kindness, compassion, perfection, joy, peace, and so forth, service, responsibility. Mindfulness is how we move into these states, how we move into transcendence, how we learn to not take ourselves personally. Mindfulness is the simple act of paying attention. It's the act of acting as little as possible on top of what's already happening. We pay attention to what's happening around us, and even much more importantly, we pay attention to what's happening within, what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Now, the form of attention is really important. We pay attention to what's happening, to the thoughts that are happening, especially when we seem to be lost in thought, right? When we're either just spaced out, then we remember, we say, let me be mindful and see what's happening in my mind and in my body, what's happening around me. And especially in moments of excitement or suffering, we're lost in excitement. Oh, it's so sour. Oh, suffering. If we can remember in those moments to be mindful, to have something in some part of us that watches what's happening impersonally. Impersonally means the quality of the watching. We watch without judging, without saying it's good or bad. Now, we may have a reaction, we may have something happens and we're reactive. Someone says something to us and we feel embarrassed. And so that's a reaction. And then we say, I don't want to feel embarrassed. That's not it. There's no reason I should have self-esteem or whatever that is, the judgment is. It's okay, all that's happening. Then there comes that place where we remember, we say, okay. And we watch and we see, we don't even have to label it, but we can label if we want, but we don't label it if we don't have to. We just feel and see, there's this thought, that thought we can call embarrassment, we can call the next thought, struggling against it, the next one, judgment. But we get to the point where we're watching what's happening within, physically, emotionally, in the body, and in the mind and the thoughts, without judging it, without explaining it. It's happening because it means this. I am doing that. She did that. No explanation, no judgment. Now, if there's explanation and judgment happening, we get to the place with memory and with focus, remembering, not memory, but remembering to be mindful. Let me remember to pay attention to what's happening, not just to be lost in it. The river of thoughts and feelings, we're always in it like we're drowning. Get something onto the bank that watches it without explaining what's happening, without judging it, without negating it, without saying it's not happening, pushing it down, sublimating it, which just puts it down there with more strength to rule our lives, like the sneaky little thing that it is. And without projecting it, without saying someone else is responsible. It's happening here. And just watching it. This is the light of truth. The light of this will increase our honesty. It will increase our taking ourselves impersonally, less personally. It will increase our ability to respond, to be responsible. It will open us to a sense of boundlessness, timelessness, eternal now. It will absolutely, it's a simple light. You don't do more than be mindful and watch. Let it do the work. Surrender. We must speak about surrender. See, the flow is incredible. Thank you. Let's move into surrender. Mindfulness. Practice it as much as you can remember, as much as with your focus and your intention, you can remember, I forgot to be mindful. Not a bad thing. As soon as you say, I forgot to be mindful, it's so bad, then you're being unmindful again because you're not, and if you have that reaction, watch it. Be mindful of the reaction that's judging. It's okay. Just get to the place of watching without judging, without explaining, without negating and sublimating, and without projecting. You will find the more you do this, the freer, the more transcendent you just automatically become. This is light. Surrender.